Oh, Trevor, it feels good to be back from vacation, man. I tuned everything out. I went into the darkness like Aaron Rodgers.
Nice.
Just kind of my own humble abode,
It's good to unplug sometimes.
Unplugged. But what I'm looking forward to, man, is college football and the Conference of Champions. I cannot wait for the Pac-12. And what?
Do you not know what's
No,
happened
what
to the
happened?
Pac-12? You really unplugged? You didn't have that Wi-Fi?
I pulled an Aaron Rodgers, man. I just went into the darkness, no drugs, but I just unplugged, man. What
Pac-12, it's not doing too well.
What happened to Bill Walton?
We don't have his whereabouts at all right now. We've lost him. We have no idea. He's like off the grid. But yeah, man, I don't know how to tell you this because it seems like you really don't know. The Pac-12 is gone. It's dead. It's 4 teams. It's Oregon State, Wazoo, Cal, and Stanford.
4-pack?
It's a 4-pack. It's a pack of 4.
Are you serious? Oh my God.
Tough for you to hear it this way. What's up, Western Oregon? Welcome to episode 12 of the TD Show. Did that whole episode on realignment last week when you were gone. I said in the episode, I was jealous of you for being gone because it was 26 minutes of me almost on the verge of tears talking about the death of the Conference of Champions. But kind of towards the end of the episode, I said we're going to focus on ball from now on.
There we go.
We'll touch on it if we need be. We'll touch on it a little bit today as well. But we're not going to dwell on it because we're a show talking about Oregon and Oregon State, football in particular. And we've got a big-time season coming up in the Pac-12. Both of these teams deep in fall camp.
Yes.
I've had the pleasure of going to a ton of practices so far. I say practices for Oregon. I use that word loosely. We're allowed to see like the first 2 minutes when they step out onto the field.
I was going to say,
that's about it.
When they open it up to reporters, you're in there for like 2 minutes, see the pads hit, and they're like, all right, get out. Phil Knight's on his way. Yeah.
The second cleats touch the turf, they've been gone. But you see a couple drills, and it's good for seeing, like a big development that we're going to talk about. Like you see Micah Williams out on the field, so you can get a sense for the roster.
Stud.
And everyone, the 24/7 guys, they've got their binoculars and they're
you were able to catch the water breaks and everything.
Yeah, great water breaks the other day. There were some good stretches. Jackson Powers-Johnson, Casey Rogers were getting those glutes warm.
That's good to know that these guys are flexible.
They're very flexible.
That's good to know. Probably took yoga.
Yes, but for Oregon State, we can watch the entire thing. We can't film, but we can watch, and
nice.
You can actually draw conclusions from what you're seeing. So let's talk about fall camp. We've got plenty of topics to hit today, Danny, don't we?
Well, I think let's just start off with Micah Williams. An Oregon track star.
Yeah.
Going to football. I'm excited for this, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited. He's a walk-on, but I'm excited to know what he can do. I read something that he might do something on special teams or something.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because he's been hinting at this for a while on Twitter, and we've been talking about it here for a while. Obviously, one of the most talented sprinters in the entire country. This is an NCAA indoor champion, a guy that's ran a 9.86. The second fastest collegiate time ever. So this is a guy that's going places, that has that World Athletics profile, that's going to be probably in Olympics and World Athletics championships for years to come, make a lot of money in track. He's had this wanderlust on Twitter recently.
I love it.
He hasn't played since his freshman year of high school. Dan Lanning said he was in a wing T offense as a wide receiver. They don't even really get the ball. So this guy doesn't have a lot of film, but he's been tweeting out old clips of him chasing down people running in the open field. And he's been tweeting a lot about wanting to get back on the gridiron. So ask and you shall receive. They added him to the roster. He's officially a wide receiver wearing number 84.
Nice.
That Randy Moss number when he was with the Vikings, kind of cool. I like it.
I'm excited for Micah Williams, man. Devin Allen, LaMichael James, 2 former Ducks who also did the same thing where they ran track and played football.
Yeah, DeAnthony Thomas.
DeAnthony Thomas as well. So hopefully he follows in their footsteps and we actually see him get some legitimate playing time this season. Against Texas Tech, potentially. Against Tyler Shuck. We'll see.
That'd be cool. It's going to be an uphill battle. They were talking about how, Kyler Casper spoke the other day, and, he it's hard to even, judge because he's still learning the signals, still getting up to speed, had only been in camp for 3 days at that point. But it's cool. I think it goes back to what we talked about with Tyler Dean. This team, if they're going to miss, they're going to either miss, fast and big and tall. Like, they're going for measurables for sure when they get some of these players. So they're willing to take a chance on a guy that hasn't played since his freshman year of high school simply because of the speed, and what he could potentially bring there. Maybe it's covering kickoffs. Maybe it's returning kicks. I mean, it'd be really fun to see him get on the field in some capacity this year. It's crazy that Jerry Schumacher allowed it to happen because obviously with how physical football is, like he's going to take some hits at some point.
100%.
But they need him for the track season as well. So that's going to be fascinating.
They probably just know he's so fast he's going to dodge all these tackles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're all hoping for. I mean, let's see how fast he is in pads. I guarantee he's still going to be, if not one of the more faster receivers in the country, potentially. I'm really excited for him. Trevor, let's shift gears to Corvallis for a second. I know you're beyond excited for Beaver Street to open up with all their food, but I want to focus on something a little more exciting, the QB battle going on right now at Oregon State. We got Bengal Branson, DJ, play the clip because I still cannot pronounce his last name. Play the clip.
You go Uwe Anga Lele. So Uwe Anga Lele.
Okay.
So
DJ Uwe Angalale. We'll work on
Uwe Angalale. You know what? Before the season starts, I will have it so perfect.
Go home, practice
I will practice it. But let's go back to it. I mean, the QB battle. What have we seen so far? I mean, like you said, you've been able to go to the Oregon State fall camp, and they open it for the entire practice. You still obviously can't film it. But what have you seen so far, man?
Yeah, so in the spring, Aiden Childs, I think maybe looked like he had the higher upside, right? Was making a little more plays with his legs and everything. I think the battle has totally shifted in the fall towards DJ wholeheartedly because, I think he's just had a summer to really digest the offense. I think that was the challenge. Just such a different scheme from what he was playing in Clemson. A lot of RPOs, a lot of trying to use him as a runner. This is more pro style. We're going to see more of what he was doing in high school, more of where I think his potential is. This is a big arm guy, throwing it down the field, getting out in some play action, more just pro style player. So he looks comfortable in the offense. His passes look crisper. Particularly, he's developing a big connection with it. I think last year I was hyping up Damian Martinez around this time. I want to start hyping up a very under-the-radar guy, Trent Walker. He's an Oregon kid. He redshirted last year, I believe, number 24. Big target, 6'3". Him and DJ have a legitimate connection. So keep an eye out for Trent Walker. Because we've been talking about kind of the size of the Beavers receivers, right? Yeah. Anthony Gould, a little smaller. Silas Bolden, who I'll talk about in a second about Silas Bolden. But they've got some bigger guys that are under the radar that are going to make some plays for this team. Trent Walker comes to mind. And then Jermaine Terry, big transfer from Cal at tight end, 6'4", 250. Wondering how you replace Luke Musgrave. The past couple of years they've had great tight ends, Tegan Quitoriano and Luke Musgrave. But it's kind of been perplexing because they haven't used them a ton. You could tell they wanted to use Musgrave a lot at the beginning of last year, and then obviously he got hurt for the rest of the year. But I think they're going to try to utilize the tight ends a lot this year. Jermaine Terry is a head to watch, bro.
All right.
Talk about heads to watch. Jermaine Terry, Trent Walker. Those are my two. I got to stop banging on this pen. Apologies to everybody listening on Spotify with that. I'm just really trying to hammer home my point here. But yeah, DJU has looked extremely sharp. Aiden Childs has looked good. He's made some wild plays at times. When I was at practice the other day, he had a beautiful deep pass to Jimmy Valson, who's also a potential breakout guy. So don't rule him out. Go Branson, steady as always. So it's not DJ running away with it by a landslide, but I would say he is starting to pick up ground. If we're in a 100-meter dash, he is starting to inch a little bit forward on that last 50 meters, I think. And I think ultimately he'll take the job. Then it's a big question of who's the second string. Do you go with the guy with the experience? I mean, I think in terms of quarterback situations, the Beavers have one of the best ones in the nation if someone goes down. Because you have Ben Branson, a guy that's proven he can step in and lead the team to some wins. And, you hear a lot of negativity about him. I don't know. He takes care of the football. He's got an arm. He can make some plays when you need him to. And this would be his second year in the system where he's more comfortable. So I think having him back is huge. However 100%. You feel about him, having an experienced guy back is huge. And then the potential of Aiden Childs. If it comes down to him, who knows? So interesting quarterback battle, but in conclusion, DJU starting to get some ground in that competition.
I'm so excited for Oregon State. I feel like they have a real chip on their shoulder this year.
It's a good roster. It's a really good roster.
They are ready to fire back and just, I don't think it was a fluke year this year. I think they're going to come back stronger, faster. I'm beyond excited for Oregon State.
Well, it's like you look at the entire roster, the offense feels like it's going to be so much better than last year just by virtue of getting DJ. They need some receivers to step up outside of Gould and Silas. Let me just say Silas, dude. He's one of those guys that makes every single catch look cool. Like, I don't know if it's on purpose. I don't know if he's always getting underthrown or overthrown, but it feels like even a 4-yard catch, he's going to, like, do one-handed or dive and, like, make it look cool. But that guy is awesome. I really hope he has a big year. I really hope he has like 700, 800 yards because what you see in practice, it's been this way for a few years now. He's been like a practice hero, like making all these crazy catches. Finally started translating on the field. I feel like that Florida game was like his coming out party of like, I am here, like I am a stud.
Yes.
And we talked about that a bunch, but he's been awesome to watch in practice. You got Gould, of course, in there. So yeah, a lot of pass catchers to watch. And then over on the defensive side, I think the D-line, man, I haven't seen them like in full pads yet. I think they're getting to that point soon, but they have been wearing shoulder pads, so there is some hitting. The D-line has been getting a lot of pressure. They've been in the backfield. Like Andrew Chatfield has been around for a while. John McCartan's been around for a while. James Rawls, the big guy in the middle, one of the best Pac-12 interior D linemen out there. So they've been generating a lot of pressure, especially on the second and third team with Aiden Childs and Go Branson, making their jobs a little difficult. So I like their defensive front. I like Easton Mascarenas-Arnold at linebacker. I just think that guy's a dog. I think like he's a guy that really deserves like the full spotlight now. Had a pick 6 against Washington. He's always like one of those guys that's been really good with the reps that he's gotten, and now it's like it's your team now, dude. Like those are big shoes to fill. You had Avery Roberts, you had Kyrie Fisher-Morris, you had Omar Spates. You had some real dogs in the middle of that defense that made this defense work. It's Easton's turn. Like, he is next man up. I think the biggest question mark maybe on the entire team is the DBs, right? Because you lose so much. But it's not like they're totally, like, left in the cold either.
Yeah.
It's like you have Catan, you have Achille Arnold, who's played a lot of football back there. You have Alton Julian, who's still, I think, working to get back. So some question marks there, but, man, this is a very solid roster. Like, the more that I watch this team in camp, the more I'm like, shoot, man, like, this is just solid from top to bottom, and they're going to win a lot of football games this
And
year.
I hope that they win a lot of football games. I hope they get the spotlight so these other conferences can be like, you know what, come join us. I mean, obviously, with all this realignment stuff going on, it's a bummer to see these teams that are obviously have potential to be a nationwide like team. People are going to want to watch Oregon State on their defense and offense. So
Raiders are getting good. They're kind of getting left out in the cold, it seems.
Yeah, it's such a bummer.
I've seen a lot of stuff about how we're inevitably going towards like a 30-team like super conference. And my thing with that is cool. Like, if we're going to do that, let's do it. Of course, there's a lot of downsides with that. Like get that away from the other sports and just do that for football. But if that's the case, if that's where it's headed, have a secondary league of the next 60 teams or whatever it is, and the winner of that league, put them in the power conference every year.
I like that. I like that.
Maybe demote the last place. Like
So you're going European soccer right now with me right now.
Yeah, to an extent. Like, not the top 4, because we care about like championships here. We don't reward third place teams here in America. Like, we don't do that. Like, we're not about that.
What are we doing here?
We're not in, it's not
Europe.
It's not Europe. It's not Europe. We're not going to reward 4th place here, but we'll reward a championship. I've long said there should be a group of 5 champions so they have something to genuinely play for.
I like that.
So you have the group of 5, and then, if Oregon State keeps this up, maybe they win it and get in. But that's maybe down the line. But yeah, really, really good roster.
I'm excited. Any true freshmen on either Oregon?
But yeah, really, really good roster.
I'm excited. Any true freshmen on either Oregon or Oregon State that you're looking forward to this year?
Yeah, so I'll start with Oregon here. The guy that keeps standing out, it might be surprising, because I think most people look at Mateo Uiagalelei. Play the video again. So a lot of people are going to look at Mateo, and I think he's going to make an instant impact. I think they need him to make an instant impact. But the guy that's drawing rave reviews right now at camp, a Sheldon guy.
Oh.
Believe it or not.
Interesting.
Hometown
hero.
Tatum Tuioti, the son of the D-line coach, Tony Tuioti.
Yes.
He's put on 30 pounds this offseason.
Are you serious? What are they feeding him?
I have no idea what Wilson Love is pumping into that guy. But he must be eating everything in sight. But when he walks by in practice, he looks huge. I remember watching him at Sheldon, and they would just give him the ball on a little dump pass, and all the poor Oregon defensive backs in his way just got shoved to the side like it wasn't even fair.
Unreal.
And he would score like every time he touched the ball. Now he's playing outside linebacker, and his name just keeps popping up. And this was a guy that was a 3-star, kind of under the radar. But you kind of knew at the same time that it wasn't just because his dad was there. Like I remember like Tennessee came in late to try to get him.
Yeah.
He got a lot of offers. This guy's drawing rave reviews. His dad, of course, was complimentary about him, which I guess if your dad's not complimentary about him, that might be something to take to therapy. So, of course, his dad's
dinner table conversation.
Of course, his dad's going to be complimentary of him, right? But no, everyone is talking about him. I asked Jeff Bassa at practice, like unprompted, like what true freshmen are standing out to you?
Yeah.
He said one name. It was Tatum Tuioti. He's getting interceptions at practice. He's looking huge.
Okay.
And basically saying like he's going to play for us this year. Might be in special teams, but I think he'll be a second or third team player. I don't see a red shirt happening for Tatum Tuioti.
Okay, good.
He's a name that keeps coming up. I don't know if there's as much on the offensive side for Oregon. I think they have linemen that are experienced. You have Terrence Ferguson at tight end. You have Bo Nix. You have receivers. I don't think many true freshmen are going to make an immediate impact on the offensive side of the ball. But Tatum on defense, Mateo on defense would be my top 2. Over to Oregon State, it's kind of the opposite. I think there's a couple guys maybe that could make an impact on offense. Number one is Zachary Card, a receiver, definitely has the best connection with Childs, but also when given first-team reps, I feel like I was at practice and he had like 12 catches. Like he's a smaller guy. He's in that Oregon State mold of smaller guys, but dude can flat out play. Great route runner. Brian Lindgren highlighted him in the spring, so keep an eye out for Zachary Card. Not a freshman technically, but a transfer, another guy from close to home, Thurston player, Grant Stark, transfers in from Nevada where he was an all-Mountain West player. Marco Brewer, hurt for the season at that guard spot, opens up a spot for him. So that like next man up, like he's going to play some ball, and that goes to the depth. So that offensive line is going to have like 4 starters back, I believe, if you count him. Kind of a battle maybe at that right tackle spot. But everything else is kind of set. You have Levin Good, you have Talaise Fuaga, you have Josh Gray at left tackle. So, yeah, keep an eye out, though. In terms of true freshmen, I'm looking at Zachary Card. Haven't seen too many moves from Kelsey Howard yet, the 4-star defensive lineman. He's been tucked away on the 3rd team. Still just kind of expect his talent to come through and maybe he plays. But, yeah, that Zachary Card is the Zachary Card for Oregon State, Tatum Tuioti for Oregon. That could always change, but those are the guys I'm going with right now.
Hell yeah, I'm beyond excited now. I cannot wait for.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, I mean, we're less than 30 days away now.
Yeah, this is such a fun time of the year. I've always really loved fall camp. I've been working a bunch of days, but it just goes by so fast because, it's fun to go to practices. It's fun to project ahead of what the team's going to look like. For Oregon, you're kind of getting those little scraps, trying to put together what you think the team's going to look like because you can't really see it. Oregon State, you're able to watch so you can draw some conclusions. I remember around this time last year, everything was about Damian Martinez, watching him rip off 60-yard runs, and we could confidently say, this is a guy to watch. It ended up happening. So
True, yeah.
Now it's fun to project the next guys, but this is a really fun time of the year.
Well, before we get out of here, we talked about how Micah Williams, dual sport athlete, and we were kind of talking what dual sport athletes we would want to see, for Oregon.
Yeah.
So do you want to, lead off with that? What do you think for a dual sport athlete?
Bryce Betcher.
Oh, really?
He's already doing it. He's already doing it, baseball and football. So, yeah, we're looking at athletes we'd like to see on other teams joining Micah Williams. I'll start. I'm going to go with N'Faly Dante as a defensive end. He's 7'1". He's an absolute menace. Imagine lining him up as a pass rusher, but you tell him, don't rush the passer. You stand right there and you lift up your arms and you bat down every ball. Defending the pass was an issue last year. I think N'Faly Dante improves that defensive front immediately.
Wow, N'Faly Dante, what a pick. For me, I'm going to go with Troy Franklin. He's fast. He's got the speed, much like Micah Williams. But I'm not going to put him in track.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
You know what I'm going to put him at?
Oh.
World Chase Tag. All right. They showed on ESPN, the Ocho. World Chase Tag. I think he has the speed to be a dominant force in tag. I think he has the speed. He has the moves. I think if he were to go into World Chase Tag tomorrow, the Michael James of it.
He would never be it. I mean, he
would
just
never be it.
running the entire time.
100%.
He would be him, but he wouldn't be it.
Exactly. Wow. I like that.
Sometimes, just find the words perfectly. You know what? You've inspired me. On ESPN, the Ocho the other day, they also had pillow fighting. I think I think having DJU with his rocket arm literally getting drafted to the MLB, I think he would put some folks in the hospital for sure.
100%.
In a national pillow fighting competition. So there we go.
For me, to finish it off, I'm going to have to go with Mace Funa. So I guess he's already played this sport before, but I would love to see him go back to it at some point, is rugby.
Oh.
Little backstory, my brother actually played against Mace Funa in rugby back when he was in high school. Same age, but Mace Funa was damn near triple his size and height.
No way.
And my brother played against him, and he saw Mace Funa coming straight towards him, and my brother was like, I moved. He didn't even try to tackle him with the ball. My brother was like, I moved out of the way.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Went up against Mace Funa.
Yeah, he played against
in
Mace Funa.
rugby.
So little connection right there with rugby. But yeah, so I would love, if let's say Mace Funa, hopefully not, but let's say football just didn't plan out the way he wanted. I would love to see him go back into the rugby.
That'd be cool.
He was fun to watch. He was huge. He trucked anybody that got in his way.
What would you do if Mace Funa was running at you? With
I would also move out of the way. I would let him go by. I would not risk being out for 6 to 7 months, paralyzed from the neck down, getting a hit from Mace Funa.
I would need a diaper on for sure. That would not be cool. That would not be cool. Maybe we'll see him on Team USA Rugby. All right, for my final pick, Anthony Gould with wrestling. He is a ferocious blocker in the run game. Used to wrestle in high school a little bit. He's a Tasmanian devil out there. I would love to see him go for Coach Pendleton on the wrestling team. So let's take a quick break with that. Let us know if you have any other dual sport athletes you want to see to join Bryce Betcher and Micah Williams. We'll take a quick break and then close out episode 12 of the TD Show. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the TD Show. This final section is when we always talk about, our random nonsense at the end of a show. NCAA update, taking a little break, like I said, for my Georgia dynasty. I'll come back to it at some point, but I was winning too many games, so I wanted a new challenge. So I created a safety in Road to Glory mode named Troy Takahashi from Hawaii.
That sounds like a demon.
In the mold of Troy Polamalu, he'll take your head off.
Wow.
Pre-targeting, so he targets everybody. He's going for
a little bit of a headhunter.
He is a headhunter.
Sean Payton would love him.
The bounties on all these Big 12 players. So I chose TCU because of the 4.25 offense. Won a Thorpe Award this year in my junior year.
Wow.
Now it's time to bring a national title to Fort Worth.
Wow.
So
I love that.
Pretty pumped. Troy Takahashi, legend. Cool name. God love him.
Besides the Natty, did you happen to catch the Johnny Football documentary that came out?
I did. I watched that last night.
Same here.
Man, he just never had the right mentality, did he? I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like, it's almost like on the verge of parody how much he did not care.
Yeah.
About being a professional.
I was kind of going, when I first went into the doc, first 5 minutes, I'm like, all right, we're going to see why he kind of just fell off the face of the earth. And then it was going to be maybe some backstory, maybe something happened to him as a kid or something. But no, it was just.
He didn't care.
He didn't care. When they said, when they were like, how much, he has 0 hours on his iPad.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I was just like, what the heck's going on? And I mean, you see him at Texas A&M, he beats #1 Alabama.
It's crazy how good he was.
Won a Heisman as a freshman.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just unreal. I mean, like I said, we were mentioning it before the show. I don't feel bad for him. Because, he kind of did it to himself with all the partying. I mean, he even said he was like,
he had some issues, but I think he chose a certain lifestyle.
Yeah.
I think they were talking about it, if he had gone to a place like Alabama, he would have been as good, but there probably would have been more structure. Maybe just Texas A&M not really having that tradition, not really being that good. They kind of were I don't think we've ever seen anything like that. I kind of forgot how big Johnny Football was, and then I'm remembering, everyone bought those Browns jerseys.
Drake, LeBron.
Those were everywhere. Everyone was doing this, and every picture when we were wearing Sperry's with elite socks, everyone was doing this. I forgot how big he was.
He was,
but he was huge.
No, he was huge.
He was huge at that time.
Huge.
It just went away so quick that you almost forget. But I think we haven't seen. I don't think we've seen a celebrity like that in college sports since
where they just
Johnny
completely
Manziel.
fall
I'm trying
from
to think
grace.
I don't know.
There's injuries, so you can say they became a bust, but legitimately where there was nothing wrong with him outside of the fact that he just did not care. We haven't seen that.
He partied.
I don't think in any sport.
I don't know that he loved football, I guess. He didn't love the other aspects of football, the process of it, But man, watching him was so fun. Like for him to be that good,
the way he moved, like I mean, just
incredible.
running and everything. But
he was so fast, and like
Yeah.
if he had just prepared a little bit, like I know that's obvious, but
my theory is that he came from, at the beginning of the doc, his dad was like, I pretty much raised him, and then they talk about that rigorous football team in Caryville.
yeah.
And I think it was just he was so sheltered, so regimented that I think the moment he got to college, he just exploded and just,
Yeah.
he went away with all the, instruction in his life, all the discipline, and I think he let loose. He had his friend that was there, that was his manager, quote unquote.
Man, dude, they were running around like in college. I definitely understood the wanting to get his money. I have no problem with any of that.
That's
by the way.
fine. That's
the signing the autographs, like I would be mad too, and that was kind of
Half
great.
a game suspension.
Yeah, I don't know if we'd be in the NIL era without Johnny Manziel, with how much money, like literally getting a stadium built, like the amount of money he generated, they were saying like 30 million, like no way.
His Heisman alone was
It was-
worth like 47 million or something like that.
I bet it was even more when you talk about the value. You can't even quantify.
Yeah. Even I wanted a number 2 jersey growing
I wanted
up.
the Browns jersey. Yeah, I remember trying to play with him in Madden. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
oh man.
he was someone that I definitely wanted to be good for sure. I think everyone did. Like, it was like
100%.
rooting for him just because of how good he was. But his brain just wasn't. He just wasn't built for professional football.
Yeah.
And now it seems like he's really like still trying to figure out like what he wants to do.
I was gonna say the ending was kind of interesting. I mean, it didn't really end. It was just kind of like, anyways, yeah, I didn't care.
Hopefully he figures it out.
Hopefully he figures it out. But yeah, he was just like, I came home and was like, I don't care. And that's kind of ended. So I was like,
Yeah.
overall, I liked the documentary though.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
watched it on my layover. Had a great time with it. I'm excited for Hard Knocks. I've yet to watch that. I'm gonna watch that
We'll
tonight.
talk about that next week for
Yes,
sure, because
let's
that's
do
going to
it.
be a great season with all the Aaron Rodgers stuff. So that could be a recurring theme of the rest of our podcast. Anything else we need to hit? I think we got everything.
I think we got everything, man.
Fun episode, dude. I've been enjoying going to fall camp. I'm going to go on vacation next week, so we'll see what that next episode kind
excited.
of looks like. So excited for that. We'll leave you guys to it. Thanks for tuning in yet again to the TD Show.